Second presenter is Vitaly Modlo, who works in CMB Regional Centers since 2014. Vitaly provides informational assistance to individuals who want to obtain US permanent visa or green card through the EB-5 immigration program. He also works with many immigration attorneys in the United States, assisting their EB-5 clients. He is doing his presentations in different events in different countries. He helped hundreds of families to achieve their US immigration goals through the EB-5 program. CMB is a leader in EB-5 industry with over 80 partnerships, more than 5,800 investors from most of countries of the world, I would say, because it's more than 100 countries, and there were no project denials. As of now, there are more than 30 CMB partnerships have returned capital to their investors. CMB Regional Centers continue to be leader in EB-5 industry with a 100% project approval rate. It can be better, and no project denials, different petition stages. CMB's EB-5 investors have achieved over 5,000 approvals in one stage and over 1,900 approvals in the second stage, and we will hear more from Vitaly during his presentation.
Спасибо, Мария. Здравствуйте, уважаемые друзья.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, dear friends, dear audience members. My name is Vitaly Modlo. At the moment, I'm in the US. Now we're going to transfer from the Caribbean region slightly northwards to the US, and taking the advantage of Bosco Conference organizers, I am making this presentation in Russian because the majority of our audience members are Russian speakers. Although the presentation is going to be in English, I hope it's going to be convenient for the majority of participants. I'm going to start on my presentation. I represent the regional CMB centers, and the program is called EB-5. It is a permanent visa that you do not need to extend or prolong. It is the green card, and also the company is very large. It's the largest, probably the largest company in the US, providing investment opportunities for citizens of other countries that like to be able to permanently reside in the US. I can say that our company has attracted over 3 billion USD for various projects from different countries. At the moment, we have over 80 projects implemented. I joined CBM in 2014. I'm an immigrant myself. I moved from Ukraine to the US back in 2013, and since 2014, for 9 years, I've been helping investors and their families from different countries to implement their American dream by moving over to the United States with their children and family members to start out on their new life in the US. You can see my contact points here. You can get in touch with me via email or telephone. I'm actively using WhatsApp. Clients, their consultants, and lawyers. What is an EB-5 visa? It is a program that exists since 1990, allowing for an investment in the US economy to get the green card both for yourself and the qualified members of your family. That green card can turn into the US passport later. That is, in 5 years down the road, you can undergo naturalization to get the US passport. This is one of the advantages of the program and one of the benefits of the green card. Unlike other available, accessible visas, US visas that are non-immigration ones. There are some others, as I said, the entrepreneur's visa, the L2 visa, both of them have to be protracted or prolonged, whereas the green card doesn't need to be extended. The program is very popular worldwide, and in the past years, 10,000 green cards have been allocated for the purpose of this program, and during the COVID period, the number of applications would trespass the number of the green cards issued, but these applications still are waiting to be considered by the Immigration Service of the United States. What are the other benefits on top of the fact that you don't need to protract its validity, and you can get the U.S. citizenship after 5 years? You can live or work anywhere in the U.S. You can open your business in the U.S. And also, if you have children or you would like to be educated yourself, you can. The tuition in the education institutions and universities and colleges can be way lower than that offered for international students, making these rights almost identical to the citizens of the US, except for two things. People, the green card holders cannot vote in the US, and they cannot be employed by government institutions. As for the rest of it, including opening bank accounts, availing of different benefits, etc., all of that is accessible for the green card holders. EB-5 is an immigration timeline as well as an investment timeline. And ease of understanding, we're going to talk about two timelines. They are matching each other, but let's consider the step-by-step timeline of EB-5 program process. I'd like to say that the investment amounts to 800,000 USD. It is refundable. You invest these 800,000 USD in a certain project in the US, and after a certain number of years, you get these investment funds back, and with a little interest that is accrued for you during each year of the process. Dear colleagues, those of you who are interested in EB-5 program, we are currently at step 1. If you have an intention to immigrate to the US, to launch your immigration process, you need to do two things. You need to select the investment project for you to invest in, and you need to hire an immigration lawyer that will represent your case in the investment service, in the immigration service of the US. Of course, you need to have the 800,000 USD. You should also take into account two fees that you will have to pay on top of the 800,000 USD. I will correct myself. Slide is pointing out 900,000. That was the investment amount back in 2019 and 2020. Right now, it's down to 800,000 USD. The administrative, the fee you will have to pay to the immigration lawyer, depending on the level of complexity of your case, the amount you will have to pay to your lawyer may vary from 15 to 30,000 USD. You should be capable of investing 800,000 USD and collect the necessary and undergo the due diligence, which is something you will need help in. That is, the lawyer is going to help you in this process, as the immigration office is going to consider these documents, including the source of etc. And if you fall short of the total number of documents you need to submit, your case will be a failure. The due diligence process can actually last for several months. Some of my clients, they spend 1 or 2 years doing this. I'm talking about real clients. The decision to invest is a very serious decision that is going to change your life. That, of course, is a lifetime decision. So you need to have a clear understanding of how the program works, how to reach the objectives, the goals of the program, and what should you do to avoid the refusal. So you have studied the projects at this point that are available within the EB-5 program. You have due diligence invested in the selected project. you have transferred the money for the project to make sure that these funds are going to be spent to develop to implement the project. I'm going to tell you a little more about our project slightly later. And you got the business plan for your first petition, which is I-526. This is the real picture of the number of pages of the application that includes the business plan, the due diligence documents confirming the source of your funds. There's about 5,000 pages, no less than that. And this file is going to be sent to the Immigration Service of the United States. And then you'll have to wait for the final decision. At the moment, this term is lasting for almost 2 years. If you submitted this file right now, you would be waiting for the approval in late 2024, early 2025. In the meanwhile, you're just doing your business, and many investors currently move to the US to file the 526 file from the US. Is this possible or not? We can tell something about that. Together with this file, you can also submit 2 forms in the US that will allow you to work in the US and to travel in the US as long as your file is going to be considered. This became possible thanks to the new law which was adopted by the US Congress, EB-5, in March 2022. So people that are seriously considering EB-5 I recommend you to consider this opportunity of visiting the US using a tourist visa to submit I-526 from the US. So now you have been waiting for 2 years and you got the approval. And if you stay in the country of your citizenship, your case is then transferred or dispatched to the consulate service in your country. You are invited for an interview, and having passed the interview, you get the within 6 months' time. And you get a green card US address. And now step 3 is what we're talking about, the consulate. The consular interview can take 6 to 12 months, depending on the country in consideration. Talking about the citizens of Russia, we know that immigration cases for Russian citizens previously used to be processed by the US consulate in Moscow. Then this procedure was stopped, and at the moment, all the Russian cases are sent to Poland. However, since Russian citizens have a hard time entering Poland right now, I think all the immigration cases should be redirected to a third country that would openly and freely be visited by the Russian citizen. If you submit your I-526 from the US, by doing that, you also avoid the bottleneck of having to do this through a consular service in some country. The green card is this kind of a card, which is the same size of the credit card, and it is issued for 2 years. Initially, it is called a temporary green card. It has a validity term because after 2 years of holding this temporary green card, the US government wants you to reapply for it to show that you have fulfilled 2 conditions. Number 1, you have invested in EB-5 project to stay with this project up until the time you reapply the second time. And the second condition has to do with the establishment of 2 jobs, which is a prerequisite for the acquisition of the green card. And regional centers like CMR are actually assuming this function, creating jobs for EB-5 investors. This is considered to be a passive investment, as you don't need to actively manage your investment, because our company is actually cooperating with the developer, and under the credit agreement, the developer should completely refund this amount to the investors. So the regional center is filing I-829 to show that you have fulfilled the foregoing two conditions. Right now, the term of I-829 file consideration is about 3 years. And once it is approved, you get your permanent green card, and your immigration process at this point is over. And altogether, it takes a certain number of years. For 2 years, you'll be waiting for the file I-526 approval. Then 2 more years, you will have to reside temporary green card, that is 4.5 years, and the submission of the second application or file I-829 is going to take you another 2 to 3 years processing time. That'll make 5 to 6 years. Immigration process is lasting for 5 to 6 years. I'm talking about the investment process. These two timelines are overlapping in that, in terms of their termination. 2 to 3 years, it will take you a couple of years to get back your investments, and 5 to 6 years to cover the entire procedure. EB-5 is different from ordinary investment in that you have different goals here. Whereas your classical investment is aiming at increasing your capital and getting additional interest. Here, the goal of yours is to get the green card, and the second important goal you have is to get your investment return. There's a small rate of return because under the requirements of EB-5 program, you have to invest in risky projects. Any EB-5 project that you will invest in cannot guarantee the refund of your investment. For that reason, you should clearly scrutinize your project to understand how is it going to accrue the necessary amount to reimburse your investments. What kind of experience is possessed by the regional center that you will be cooperating with? What's the experience of the developer? You should assess all of these criteria to select a project, a profitable project. The regional center in consideration should have a good approval rate as per the applications that they file. All of these components will have to play an important role in the decision you will make. And if you invest in a EB-5 program, you get a small interest rate because we curtail the risk level to make it as low as possible. And one of the instruments to use here is that we do not require the developers to pay high interest rates per annum to avoid having to do with risky projects. And also, we should not forget about the 2 full-time American jobs that you should create or establish. With CBM, jobs are created through capital spending during construction, meaning that upon the completion of the project can come much faster than 6 years. Talking about the commercial real estate, a logistical warehouse can be constructed within 1 or 2 years' time, and upon the completion of this construction, your jobs will be established, and you will need them when you will be filing your second application. CMB was established back in 1997. It is managed by a family. Pat Hogan is the founder of the company and CEO. He is a successful businessman. That we're talking about a family business here. And we are sure that this business is going to thrive because once a family is holding the company, is owning the company, of course, the company is taken care of by the family, and our success is ultimately impacting or dependent on the successful outcome of our investors. This is our statistics. We have over almost 6,000 investors from many countries, from Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Belarus, and have investors under EB-5 program that have completely fulfill their immigration process to get the permanent green cards and their investment refunds. If any potential investors would like to get in touch with our successful investors, that is a possibility too. I have clients that can share their experience of undergoing the EB-5 immigration process to inspire many potential investors. We have over 2,000 people that have got their capital back upon the completion of over 40 projects. Over 5,000 projects got the approval of the first I-526 application, and over 1,800 clients have already been approved in terms of their second application. The difference between these two groups of people equals the number of people that are currently in between the approval of the first application and the second application, since the immigration process is lasting for 6 years, and the gap between the first application approval and the second application approval can be about 4 years. I told you about the scores of projects we have throughout the United States. At the moment, I have an open project over in California. Every project has a serial number, and we have project 81 in South California, nearby Los Angeles. And project 83 is about the construction condominiums in nearby San Francisco. Once again, I'd like to revisit the goals of investors. Your objective is to get the green card, the return of investment, and your interest is should constitute a secondary objective of yours. You need to select a project that would be secure from your standpoint and from the standpoint of the return on investments. This is the chart pointing out our partnership. CMB limited partnership comprises the general partner of our company and a certain number of investors that are investing in a partnership. They're investing 800,000 USD each, and they become limited partners. This limited partnership is providing the investors funds to the developers. An agreement is signed between the CBM limited partnership and the project borrower. We're talking about a loan agreement necessitating the early payment of the invested funds or the return of the invested funds after 6 years' time. Many of our clients would get an early return of their investment much earlier than 6 years, and we don't have the option of extending the loan agreement if the developer is incapable of completing the project within 6 years' time. We can declare the developer a bankrupt, thus getting all the investments back. Once the money is returned, the investment is returned, we provide our investors with a proposal to leave the partnership after the submission of their second application. You should remember that you should stay with the limited partnership up until the time you submit your second investment. And once you have submitted your second application, you can leave the partnership to get your investment capital back onto your settlement account in the US. Most probably is going to be in the US, since by then you will be residing in the US, and that way you can get your funds back without before the approval of your second application. That will further abridge the investment tenure. There's no potential risk of doing this, as the legislation of the US is actually approving of that. We are talking about our team comprises investors from our team is working throughout the world. We are speaking in 18 languages, as our investors are living throughout the world. India, China, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Vietnam represent the most developed EB-5 markets. Russia also has lodged quite a few applications per year. Up until 2020, Russian citizens would get 100, 110, 120 green card citizens of the UK also comprise a large EB-5 market. Our entire statistics that I was talking about is duly confirmed by the audits implemented by audit company, and it is also supported by all of the financial indicators of our partners. So the statistics that I was talking about can be provided to our investors as they consider joining the project of investing in EB-5 program. There's something else I wanted to say. We are cooperating with a developer by the name of Hillwood. That's a large company implementing our construction projects. The company is based in Dallas. It was founded by Ross Perot Jr. His father is Ross Perot Sr. He was a well-renowned business person back in the 1990s. His son founded the Hillwood company in 1988. The company is currently one of the top 10 largest construction companies in the US, with the yearly turnover amounting to several billion USD. I'm telling you this just for you to be confident that should any recession or crisis take place, to reduce the amount of revenues for the project, this company, the company has enough of liquid funds to reimburse these funds. We have implemented quite a few projects. Right now, we are implementing project 3435 with the Hillwood company, and you can see that Hillwood has refunded the investments to 19 partners of 35 partners. The rest of them are going to be refunded in 2024, 2025. The first application has been approved for 28 projects and the second one for 10 projects. What's the most convenient thing is that Hillwood has never, for those of our clients that have chosen Hillwood, is that Hillwood has never failed us over the period of our cooperation. They have always completed their construction on time, and they would always pay annual interest without any problem, and they would fully refund all the investments in time or even early on. These are the companies that I cooperate with. Hillwood and us are cooperating with. Amazon actually owned some of the projects that we would work on with Hillwood. I'd like to say a couple of words about our current project. Our project is Group 81. This is the typical logistical center. As you can see in the picture, we have included 85 investors in this project. At the moment, 40 investors have already joined the project, and the loan is provided. The 68 million USD worth of credit is allocated, and based upon the credit agreement, this amount should be refunded after the project completion. This is the geographic map of the United States, and you can see where the logistical premises are situated here. The project comprises 3 logistical centers. One of them, Group 81, is about the construction of 3 logistical centers that are currently under construction, which should be completed in Q1 and 2. These projects are quite secure. One other point that I'd like to emphasize is that the demand for these logistical centers at the moment is exceeding 99%, meaning that if there is a logistical center out on the market, it is immediately purchased or rented out because of the high demand. Meaning that, well, according to our estimates, these facilities that will be constructed in 2023, they will also be sold in 2024 to provide us with the revenue to reimburse the bank loan that is 174 million USD, and the gold EB-5. And there are also some estimates pertaining to the establishment of jobs. 85 investors of ours have to come up with at least 850 jobs forecasted, the establishment of over 1,000 jobs, whereby one investment will amount to almost 12 or 13 jobs instead of 10. Here's one other residential project of ours. I'm not going to pause on it. You can get project details from me. And I thank you for your patience and for to take in so much information. Perhaps it was not very entertaining, and I bring my apologies for that. I just wanted to provide you with as much information as possible. If you have any questions to ask, I stand ready to answer. Thank you very much.
It was very informative presentation.